Hey guys, this episode in studio with one of my long time barbecue buddies, Darian from Kosmos. He happens to be in town for a buyer's meeting. We're cooking product outside, but we took some time to sit down, chop it up, and chat about how we both got where we are in this crazy barbecue world, some of the obstacles, some of the celebrations, some of the things we're proud of, some of the things we're not so proud of. But it is an amazing conversation from two guys that have been in the barbecue business a hot minute. I hope you enjoy.
Man, do you hear that? Look at here. They're coming. They're coming. We're going to have a party. I'm talking good on barbecue.
All right, guys, welcome to the Old Boy Podcast. So happy you could join us today. And I am absolutely stoked for this one. This is a old-time buddy from the barbecue world. Darian from Kosmos Q. Darian, good to have you in.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
Yes, sir. So we're fortunate to have Darian here in the house today. He's got we can say, he's got a meeting with Publix.
Yeah.
Big retailer, getting ready for some summer stuff and needed a little bit of food cooked and needed a place to cook it. And I said, come on in, the water's fine, old boy. Let's have some fun.
Hell yeah.
So, man, good to have you in here.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I was just telling you a minute ago, I fucking love this part of Florida.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
This is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's
very blue collar, working class. You know, you're 45 minutes to the beach. You've got Tampa and Orlando an hour away.
We don't have the 45 minutes to the beach in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
we got like 45 minutes to the river.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, I always say as long as I'm around water, it's fine. I don't care if it's river, lake, ocean. I am not picky, but there's something about being around water that just sets me at peace. I love it. So, guys, a little bit of background. As I said in the intro, me and Darian go way back. So, when I started in competition barbecue, I was using Darian's product. I was using our buddy Craig Sherry's product.
Yep.
Which got to run into Craig at Pittman's event. That was so cool. And when I won my first grand championship, I just sent an email to him and just said, hey, guys, just want to let you know, won this grand championship, used your products. And here's where the world is different years ago. Everybody now does that, and they want to become an influencer and get paid.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas you and Craig both said, man, I love it, bud. I'll send you whatever product you need and a banner.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was fit to be tied, man. I was happy as hell, because it meant a brand recognized what I was doing with their products and was appreciative and wanted to help me.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, we've ran down the road enough. I mean, competition barbecue is not cheap.
No, it wasn't cheap back then, It was still, but this is way before Wagyu and all that.
Yeah.
It's like you hit Walmart on the way out of town, and you load it up. Here, you hit Publix on the way out of town, and you load up. Now, and this is a great story. I remember I was sitting at the last comp that I competed at. I competed a lot by myself there at the end. Dr. Allen would help me. Rick would come in and help me some, but it was mainly by myself. And I was sitting there, and I think I ended up getting like 10th overall or some shit, and that's $1,500 into this.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking stupid.
That's about a $50 check for 10th overall.
Yeah. I was like, man, I'm paying good money to get,
Well, you got to figure if you're $1,500 into a contest, you've got to reserve or grand it.
Well, and this is after they changed the pay schedule to, so 10th place did get some money. So if you got, reserve or grand, you made money.
Yeah.
But then this is after the fact where if you didn't reserve or grand, even if you got grand, you probably just broke even.
Yeah, or maybe put $500, $600 in your pocket.
Maybe.
And that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. And I was sitting there. I'll never forget. I don't know if you ever saw my big gooseneck trailer.
Yeah.
I was sitting there on the step, and I was just like, man, if I took $1,500 and put it into this new Facebook ad that nobody's doing, I wonder what'll happen. So I went home and I fucking emptied out the trailer. I was like, fuck this. And I had so many teams competing that all I'm doing, I'm the worst one on the team.
Right, yeah.
So that kind of fired me, Get the fuck out of here. You're making us all look bad. So that's when I put the money into Facebook, and that's when the company took off. And this was early in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I could,
And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is, your brand has had it's taken off. I mean, I don't want to say like it's taken off from the point of view of like you haven't put the work in. I mean, it's been 12 years in the making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, it is really these last, it took off, and I would say after the first couple of years, and then you've hit that other stride of just like, boom.
Yeah.
And, you did a lot of things early that a lot of barbecue brands didn't, as far as search engine optimization, some of those things. So tell a little bit about the story of how you decided to get in the seasoning business and some of the catalysts that have helped it grow to this.
Well, when I first started competing, like the rest of us, we went to whatever grocery store was around us, and we bought whatever they had. Mm-hmm. And I was just sitting there, and I was like, man, I figured out the meat. I know the taste, or I know the tenderness, and I know the texture, but the taste, I can't get the taste right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, because that's something that's out of my control. I'm just going over here and grabbing something. And
not to interrupt you there, Kosmo, but like when he's talking about we were going to the shelf, smoking guns hot, simmering docks.
Yeah. What was the, I never can remember the name of it, but it's still to this day one of the best rubs I've ever had. Is it? Dang, I cannot remember. It was something or.
It was God dang it! All right, we will know that name before the end of the podcast, and when one of us comes up with it, we can just blurt it up. It's all right. But anyway, you were finding those, that and just other things on the shelf, and it just didn't fit what you needed.
Yeah, it just didn't fit what I thought I wanted to do. So I was like, man, fuck it, I'll just make my own, and then, Jesus Christ, you can buy the salt, the pepper, the paprika, the cumin, the cayenne, all the things, but when you're making your own rubs at home, you have a lot of shit sitting around that you're not using. But I made my own, and I made cow cover and I made Dirty Bird, and I was like, that's when I started, it leveled up my game immediately. And I was just, I kind of ran that for a long time. And honestly, I never had, for me, it was all about beer money. I can sell a little bit of barbecue and make enough money to go, compete and get some beer. So that's what I did. And then, unfortunately, and I've told this story many times, and just like me and him are 100% cool, but, and I'm not going to mention any names. Mm-hmm. But I was using another injection, and I went up to the person and I said, "Hey, man, I'm using this injection, and it's just not. Is there anything I can do? Like, can you help me?" And he said, "Yeah, read the directions." And he shut the door in my face, and it just angered me so bad. And I was, I got a lot of PTSD in my past. I had a rough childhood, and that just set me off. So that's when I started the company, and I started making my own injection. And I made brisket injection and pork injection, and then I was like, "Fuck it, I might as well do my rubs too." So those are the ones I came out with. And even then, that was I shipped all those out of my hall room closet.
I love that.
And it was just, I would come home and there, 2 orders. So I pack those 2 orders up, drive them down to the post office, and then it got to be, there was 10 orders. So I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to drive to the post office every day. I'll just save them up and, pay off the post guy to take them. So I got a little tote, and I'd set it outside, and he'd pick them up, And then my wife, she goes, "Man, we should put a little, you see them at, like, certain restaurants and shit, a map. And then, somebody from here, so we put a pin there. And then it just started growing. And like, I remember I was a route driver at the time, and I grew up poor, and I didn't know we was allowed to have money because we'd be down at the bar and we'd be buying fucking lottery tickets and shit. But I remember I looked up one day, and in 1 week's time, it was 1 week or 1 day, I can't remember, but we ran $1,000, which was like twice my paycheck. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I literally started crying.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I've never made $1,000 in a week legally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, holy shit, there may be something to this fucking internet thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when, and this is before, there was no such thing as e-commerce.
Yeah, exactly.
And the only site that Amazon sold books and eBay was an auction site. So I built a website. I learned HTML, and I learned how to grab the HTML code off of PayPal for the buy now button, and then I'd put it on my website.
Make it easier.
Make it easier. So and you can go back on way back and see that fucking train wreck of a website. But if you think about it back then, like
that was hot shit.
No one's ever seen anything like that. So that's what I did, and it just got easier and easier and easier. And then I was like, oh my God, I need to get a plan, because I could see me leaving my job. So I said, okay, when I work 12 hours a day, I'm sorry, not 12 hours. When I work till midnight every day for a week straight. So I'd get up at 5 o'clock, I'd go run my route, usually get home about 6 o'clock, eat dinner, and then go fill orders. I said, when I do that for 7 days in a row, I'm gonna quit my job. So I did, and it took, I don't know, it's 24, so it took probably 5 years, 6 years. And I remember walking in and quitting my job. Oh my God, I was so scared.
Oh, Jesus.
So and I had a friend of mine who was a Navy SEAL, and he said, Cosmo, we was at a gun class in fucking Tennessee. He said, you know what happens when you die? And I was like, no, fuck, I'm still alive. He says, most people think that their life flashes before their eyes. He goes, that's not what happens at all. Your regrets do. And dude, I'm telling you right now, that motherfucker hit me like a ton of bricks. And you know this. I mean, obviously, I was like, I can't imagine laying there, taking my last breath and going, fuck, I never tried. I was too big of a pussy. I was too fucking scared. And at the time, I had a Class A CDL, which... Yeah,
which is great to fall back on. You could if this shit hits the fan, I can go get a job tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah. No questions asked.
Yep.
So I quit my job, and dude, I'm telling you right now, it literally, I can feel it. I can feel it now, because I was, this is one of the scaredest I've ever been in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
And when I quit, hindsight's always 20/20. I was like, oh my God, I can't do just Cosmos. I got to start a food truck. So I started a food truck.
Yeah, tell me about that experience a little bit.
We had that food truck for 1 year. It's probably about a year and a half, truthfully. And we was ranked top 3 food trucks in the country. In 1 year. In 1 year. And I attribute that to I called it my Okie cheesesteak, which was chopped brisket, onions, peppers, cheese whiz, and I imported the rolls from Humorous in Philly,
dude.
And we sold those motherfuckers, and then all of a sudden,
if that's wrong, I don't want to be right, old boy.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I've said it on my podcast. I've said it a lot of places, but I'll say it on your podcast. I'll put that motherfucker against anybody in Philadelphia. Anybody. I travel to Philadelphia quite a bit, and I've had some of their cheesesteaks, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like fucking try, try.
Yeah.
But as you know, it's easier to make one than it is, 1,000. So. But with chopped brisket, man,
especially you get that right ratio of point and flat in there, so you get a little bit of that fatty.
Man, I put that whole damn brisket into the buffalo chopper, the whole damn thing, fat and all. And I'm gonna tell you right now, and then I would re-rub it,
Yep.
That right there is Flavor Train Express.
Yes, sir.
And I remember we sold, I think it was like $7,000 worth of them in like 4 hours.
God,
and I was like, oh my God, I got something here.
Yeah.
Well, little did I know, I'm a numbers guy.
Right.
I look at data.
Which is the way to run a business.
Yeah.
Take the emotion out of it.
Trust in God. Everybody else bring data. And that's my saying in the business. I don't care. I ran the numbers after I did that for a year. Oh my God. That food truck at the time brought in, it was way less than 10% of the overall revenue and took up about 90% of my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what would happen if I had 90% of my time back to focus on the business and drive it? So at the time, I only had one employee, and I called him and I said, hey, man, what do you think about selling that food truck? He goes, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to put all of our time into Kosmos. And he goes, I love it. I was like, good. I said, we're going to do it. He goes, all right, I'll be there in a minute. And he already left for work. This is like 6 o'clock at night. I said, what do you mean you'll be here in a minute? He goes, I'm coming to clean that motherfucker out before you change your mind. So he came over and cleaned it out. We sold that truck within 2 weeks. And, obviously, I wish the rest was history, but the rest is history. And then after that, at the time, I think we was doing probably 600. I think we did about 600,000 that year.
Wow.
In total revenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next year, 1.9 million.
All because you just changed the focus. You got the focus where it was supposed to be.
I let the data drive the decisions. And then I made that tweak. And
that's one of those things, too. Like, this podcast is built for entrepreneurs, just people in business, blue collar. Like, I think one thing to take from that is understanding your business, recognizing the data and appreciating the data, and being willing to make changes to grow and not let it be emotional. Let it be business, data driven.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you've done some things too with the brand that I think are cool. I mean, one, the injections have always been amazing. You went from the powder to having, ready to go right out of the bottle, which I think is awesome. But the other one that I always thought was really intriguing was the wing dust.
Yeah.
To me, that was the first time I saw somebody come out in the market with something you could use post cook instead of pre-cook. And it's phenomenal. I mean, I remember when that Nashville Hot came out, man, we could not keep it on the shelves. It was like the talk of the town. Where did that idea come from? Was that just goofing around in the R&D lab, or where'd that come from?
The wing dust or the Nashville?
Both.
Okay. The wing dust, I was like, man, shit. Well, at the time, you couldn't, you had to go get Frank's.
Yep.
And then cut it with butter, and, it was just wings. And I thought, wow, why don't we have, like, garlic parm and salt and vinegar and shit like that. So I called my friend who's a food scientist. I said, hey, man, just hear me out. Listen to me. And they said, that's fucking genius. That's fucking genius. So we started, I think we made about 5, which when we were testing at the time, we didn't have ghost pepper, but we wanted a hot one. So we did 7 pepper. And believe it or not, the rendition that is out there right now is like the 7th rendition, which it had nothing to do with the name.
Right.
It just has, 7 pepper.
Yeah.
Like the 7th rendition, but it is by far the least hot one. And it's still hot as shit. I was bombing people when we were testing that. I was like, hey, man, taste this. We'll save this one for last because
you ain't going to be worth a damn after this one.
You're done after this one. But then I went to Memphis in May.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said, let's go to Hattie B's. And
no, Gus's.
We didn't go to Gus's.
Oh, you went to Hattie B's?
We went to Hattie B's.
Got it.
And we waited there for 6 years,
Yep.
And then I got the mild, and I tasted it, and I was like, this is nothing against Hattie B's. I was like, I can do better than this. Hold my fucking beer. And I was sitting in Hattie B's, and I called my buddy. I said, hey, man, hear me out. Nashville Hot. He goes, dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. Let me work something up. So he sent me something, and that was the first shot. 1 shot, 1 kill. And
guys, that does not happen in the seasoning business. That is, I mean, usually it's multiple iterations, but that is 1 shot, 1 kill.
1 shot, 1 kill. And Jesus Christ, like I was like, that's what hot chicken should taste like. Nashville hot chicken.
Yeah.
It's got some flavor. It's got some heat. You know, and I don't know about you, but, you know, you could probably make as much money as Hattie B's if you parked a shitter trailer outside and just charge $5, you know, and you throw a hole in there with a water hose.
Yeah.
Because that was just too much grease for me.
It tears me up. Yeah.
It's too much grease for me. Well, this, you know, you get all the flavor, all the heat without, you know, just shitting yourself.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. And to me too, like what I like about that product is, I always say meaningful flavor. I don't like when things are hot.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of being hot. But when it's hot with flavor, or it's another layer of the flavor profile, I absolutely love it.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more.
All right, proud sponsor of the show, better damn well be Whiskey Bent BBQ. So this is a brand that Nicole and I started a little over a decade ago. You can find our rubs and seasonings in about 500 different retail locations throughout the U.S., Academy Sports, select Ace Hardwares, and then obviously here at our store in Lakeland, Florida. If you want to go check it out, please feel free to. WhiskeyBentBBQ.com, and you can use my discount code OldBoyPodcast for 15% off. It's awesome, but I always thought that was just one of those things that kind of came out of left field. Nobody had thought of, you know, when you added it to the order sheet, I was like, oh yeah, we got to get all this. And our customers absolutely loved it, especially when we would start demoing in class. Cause I think that was probably your hardest thing to overcome with that product was teaching people how to use it.
They didn't understand it. So what do you mean? I cook them with nothing
naked?
On there?
Yeah. Cook wings naked?
You know, and I'm like, I promise you, try it. You know, just try it. And the great thing is you can set up a wing bar, and you know, you can use your, my wife loves the garlic parm.
That is a damn good one.
I love the Nashville hot. You know, but somebody else may like lemon pepper, or you know. So that's the great thing about it is it's not just one wing for everybody. It's
Well, and what I liked about it too is especially, you know, that can make it kind of fun. You're pulling 5 or 6 wings off the grill. Hey man, you're up.
Yeah.
You throw them in a bowl. Hey, pick whatever season you want. Toss them yourself. Because that was the other thing I was impressed with was how well the seasoning actually sticks, especially, you know, hot off the grill, you know, and just throw it in the bowl like you would if you were saucing them, and then just sprinkle that wing dust on and let it go. And man, it really has good coverage. I was impressed. It's one of the better barbecue products I've ever had.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And going through this evolution, you know, where I think the difference changes for us is, you know, a lot of people can set up a website, sell online, e-commerce comes around and gets stronger. But what was that first big retailer that called you or that you went out and hunted? Like to me, when we get to put our product on retail shelves, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, believe it or not, Academy was the first one that reached out to me. And I worked with Academy for a long time, and nothing ever came to fruition. But then I'll tell you who was the first guy. The first distributor that we went into was his name just left my Scott from Wichita.
Yep. Can't remember the name of the company, but I can see Scott right now.
Yeah, I know. He's gonna kick shit out of me. But you know, they brought it in and they serviced at the time. They sold they were the distributor for Traeger's. At least Crawford. Supply.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what we did, and they brought me into their warehouse, and oh my gosh, like it just, you know, and then one more and one more and one more and you know, and it just snowballs from there.
Well, and the thing is, like those guys too, they were knocking on specialty barbecue doors, feed stores, like they're all over across the board. You were getting your stuff into a lot of different places, different eyes.
Where our people are every day. They shop there. You know, they're in there buying nuts, bolts, plumbing, electrical. You know, oh, what's this? You know, and it just made sense. It was a good fit, and it was a decision that I'm glad that they made. You know, so it was actually kind of funny because I'd been trying to get in there a long time, and I was at the National Hardware Show cooking, and Scott, I didn't know Scott at the time. Scott was in front of me, and he looked over to the person next to him. He goes, why don't we carry this? And the guy's like, well, he emailed us and this, that, and the other. And I was like, I still emailed you. And Scott goes, you Cosmo? And I said, yeah, I'm Cosmo. And he goes, oh, okay. Yeah, we'll call you Monday. So, it's just a funny story.
No, I love it. And it's those breaks, you know what I mean? And being able to get your product in, like you said, the places that our people, blue collar folks shop and people that like to barbecue, like, and then there's something that first time you see your product on the shelf.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know about everybody else, but I'm like, well, fuck, I did that,
What's next?
If I can do this, what else can I do?
Yep.
So, and that's just how my mind works. Well, if I got it here, why can't I get it there?
And that's the way most entrepreneur minds should work.
Yeah.
And
we just hired a CEO, VP of sales, and all that, and absolutely love to death. But I'm really good at visionary. Like, and what I do is I go out into the future, and I see and understand the things that I see, and then I come back to reality and implement those, which scares 99% of all the people on the planet. Especially if you're sitting around talking, and this, like when we sit around, you're a visionary too, but and then other people are watching us talk and they're like, what the heck are these idiots doing?
Yeah, oh yeah. I totally get it, but I feel like if you're not, there's a time where you can spend too much of your time looking forward, but if you're not looking forward a good amount of your time to make sure you're staying on the right path, I think it's a total oversight.
Right. There's a time to be strategic and there's a time to be tactical. Most entrepreneurs that fail are 100% strategic.
Yes.
All they do is think about the thing. They don't do the thing.
Yep. No, and that's, like anything, and then there's sometimes where you do get a staff around you. You can, they can handle a lot of stuff for you, but this is big enough. You need to do it.
Right, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is something that can move the needle. Any of those needle mover things, I think as owners, it'll always be hard to give some of those up because this is one of the things you look back in 10 years and you're like, this changed the trajectory of the company.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it changed the landscape of my family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, and people don't realize that you have, what are they called? People have strategic family members that either change the family for the better or for the worse, or they just keep it the same. I want to be that strategical person in my family to change it for the better. And I have, provided I don't just piss everything off,
You've done it up to now.
Yeah. Now it's like, I'm looking around, I'm like, do you know that I was left in charge of this? Whoever?
I don't know who put me in charge of this, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I absolutely love it. So going back a little bit, talking about the competition days, it was interesting because, we were saying this earlier when we were touring you and the guys around is like, if you'd have told any of us, 10, 11 years ago when we were cooking in a parking lot, this is what life would look like as far as, building brands and seeing our stuff on shelves, I think we'd have told you were one of those crazy son of bitches because we didn't see it happening. But it's been fun, and it's been fun to, there's been a subset of us that were cooking in the same parking lots against each other that, Malcolm, Heath, Matt, me, you, like
Travis,
Tim Shear, Tim's another one, man. Like that guy just through, Blues Hog and what he's done with everything and raising his own, proteins now. Yeah. I mean, crazy cool. But it's been fun that we all moved, Matt Barber, Jim Elser, all guys that we kind of got in the game at the same time.
Mitch.
Yeah, meet Mitch. I mean, there's a ton of them out there. And then it was interesting, being at Shields last week for their barbecue training, which is cool. I mean, what a commitment from a brand to bring in, 100 associates for 3 days to educate them on barbecue.
Yeah.
So that they're better associates in their store. I think that's just huge. But then sitting around and looking at all the pitmasters there going, man, every one of these people, 75 or 80% of these people in here teaching own a brand. And they're doing it full time.
Yeah.
Which, when we cut our teeth, there was, Rod Gray that was competing, professionally, making all of his income from that and rubs, but maybe you could say Rob McGee, Munching Hogs at the Hilton, but he was still a chef at that point before he opened Q39. I mean, there was Ray Lampe. You got to give Ray credit.
Butcher.
Yeah. Even Eddie Morin. Eddie was a firefighter until he retired. Fast Eddie Cook Shack. But there was just these handful of guys that, not running a restaurant, that were making barbecue their livelihood. And now you look at it, and with social media and everything else, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are just, influencers or social media guys that are making a living at it. Never went out and competed. Still don't have a product, but they get enough views, they get enough likes that that they're making a living at it.
Yeah, no, and people say, well, I don't know. There's there's blood in the water now. This is red ocean. Make no mistake about it. You get in here, believe it or not, like we're not cutting you any slack.
Yeah,
we're friends. But, business. And when it comes to my family eating, I don't know about anybody else, but I protect viciously. It is red water. And you're not going to come in here and you're not going to get and people ask me, what do I need to do? And I'm like, man, fuck, I don't know. What I did is not what you did. It's not what, and
it's not going to work right now. The landscape's different. You know what I mean?
Right. I said it on my podcast, and it probably come across as me being an asshole, but I really, you touched on it a minute ago. I feel like if you get, 10,000 followers, next thing you know, you got, 6 rubs, 6 sauces, and you're, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, like, do what you need to do. I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but, at some point, and maybe I'm different. Like, did you put the work? Did you put the work in? Did you put the time in? Yeah. Or did you just call a motherfucker and say, give me 6 of anything?
Yep.
Because here's the deal.
Send me 12 of your house blends. I'm going to pick 6 and slap my name on them.
Yeah, one day you're going to have to answer for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is this made out of? How do I do this? Or how do I do that? And you don't know. You don't know. I actually had an influencer. I met him. He's an absolute phenomenal guy. Somebody on his team told me this, that if I wanted to talk to him, I had to pay an hourly rate. And I was like, the fuck I am. I don't need help with my barbecue, But, the landscape's changing, and it just is what it is. But, the water's red, but it's warm. Come on in.
Yeah, I got to say that's an interesting point you bring up, because I got a great compliment from, Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, the other day. We were at Mike Allstott's charity event, and he just kind of pulled me aside and said, man, like, what you've done with your career and just pellet grilling and Traeger and all this stuff, like, it's pretty amazing. He goes, and you got to realize, too, he goes, you're one of the last breed of guys that's going to be a guy that actually cut their teeth in parking lots, competing, and then took that and turned it into, a career.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys, and I look at us when I was talking about that group earlier, me, you, Trav, like guys that went out, competed, built a name on competing, and then, turned it into something. He's like, now it's like, every social media influencer is like the next barbecue brand. It's not that time. And once again, I'm not trying to be the old guy in the room. I appreciate what social's done. I love that it gives people almost their own network TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No. And here's the deal. I had to sit down and really think about that. Influencers versus somebody like me or somebody like you, it's 2 different worlds.
It is.
They're chasing, views and clicks and subscribers, which I have my own theory about that. And it seemed to work for me pretty well. I don't need you give me 1,000 loyal motherfuckers and I'll make anybody a millionaire. Like, I mean, you just can. And there's a certain specific plan that we have built out over the years that it just fucking works, Does it, am I, sweet baby raised? No. But that's like, I don't have, admirations that I'm ever going to take over Sweet Baby Ray's. That's not what I'm doing.
Yep.
I'm finding my people and I'm talking to my people. And, to take up for the influencers now, because I like to look at shit from both sides.
Absolutely. Me too.
They're taking care of their people.
Absolutely.
So, take care of your people, all the time, you know. And just because my journey looks different than yours doesn't make me right and you wrong.
No, not at all. We all have different paths to take.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the interesting thing about it is, and it's one of the reasons I love barbecue and cooking barbecue, is you can go 10 different ways and still get to a delicious bite.
Yeah.
And I feel like the same way when you get into this business, you know, everybody's got a little different story. There will be some similarities absolutely along the way, but the stories are different.
Yeah.
You know, and there'll be some overlap and there'll be some things that everybody experienced or 80% of people experienced, but every journey is definitely different.
Yeah. And, you know, there's the other side of me that just goes, hey, man, don't rob somebody of their own story.
Yes. Yes.
You know, because I don't know if I ever told you the thing about the monkeys.
Go ahead. No.
So they put these 10 monkeys in a room with a ladder and they hung the bananas on the top. And every time one of them monkeys hit that ladder, they sprayed them with water until none of them monkeys would touch that ladder. And they knew the prize was at the top. They took 9 of them monkeys out and put 9 brand new ones in. Never turned the water back on. And every time one of them new 9 monkeys hit that ladder, that one monkey that was there for round 1 yanked them off the ladder. And that's how fucking humans are. Wow. I don't care what you say, because here's what, and I do this, you do this, we all do this. We all do it. So don't sit on your fucking high horse and, you know, say, we all do it. I at least recognize I do it, you know.
Yeah.
But I sit there and I go, just because I got hurt doing the thing doesn't mean I need to stop you from experiencing your own story.
Yeah.
Because you may make it up there. And you know this as well as I do. When you're starting a business, all you hear is, that's stupid, that's dumb, you'll never make it. I would go to competitions after I started my business. Not one motherfucker would talk to me because they were pissed off at me. And they were yanking me off the ladders. And I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm going. Scott Key and Donnie Teal, the only two. The only two that would talk to me.
And those are two legends, man. Two great guys right there.
Yeah.
Donnie's just like, Donnie's one of those guys that should have a lot more recognition in competition barbecue than he has. Like,
it's what he's done for barbecue is unbelievable.
Completely agree. And then there's several guys like that. You know, Darren, another one. You know, I don't know why it took them so damn long to put Darren Worth in the Barbecue Hall of Fame, but he's another one, just a solid guy that's just, you know, and that's something about where you come from. I mean, the Midwest, there is so many KCBS legends within that 4 or 5 state radius between Oklahoma, Kansas City, or, you know, Oklahoma, Kansas, Iowa. Like, there's some bangers in there that have really shaped you know, competition barbecue. Missouri, can't leave that out. But, you know, those 4 states have done a lot to kind of form what the national sanctioning body looks like and how it's grown. And
I really love, because KCBS, Texas has always been its own thing. IBCA, all the ones now, Outlaw is the big one down there. They do their own thing, and I love it. Like how I do barbecue isn't, you know, it isn't how you should do barbecue, or vice versa. How, you know, it's just your thing's your thing, and it's very regional. I didn't, you know, I thought everybody knew what the fuck Texas toast was. Apparently, you come out to the East Coast and you get it out of the fucking freezer.
It's true though. It's so true. But it's been interesting how that has changed. Also, like competition barbecue. I don't know the last time you kind of went to a contest, but it's like everybody's like following the same profile. Everybody's cooking on drums. Like you could literally walk out the end of the aisle and you can go, okay, within 15 minutes, everybody's going to come out here and turn their ribs. Or everybody's going to come out here and wrap their brisket. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's gotten so homogeneous.
Yeah, and you know, and back in the day, and you know this, like Donnie Teal put 1 class on a year. Rod Gray put 1 or 2 on.
Rub down here would do maybe 1.
Yeah, it was back when we started, it was you had to fucking learn on your own.
Bro, I love telling the story. When I went out, when I started, there was 2 resources. There was the Barbecue Brethren.
Yes.
And
RBJ.
Yeah, RBJ. And then the other one that I found, I invested $4.95, in my competition future and bought a Adobe ebook from Chatham Artillery.
Yep.
And that was literally all the online resources to get in the competition barbecue.
Yeah, I can tell you a story about Chatham. So back in the day, like at my first competition, they had like a list on their website. I printed it off and I went and bought every fucking thing on there. And
if they'd had affiliate leads back then, Chatham would have made some money.
Oh my God. Like, so I bought everything, and this goes to show, you know, I'm not fucking smart, and I don't slow down very well. Well, I took a fucking chimenea to the barbecue comp, and I had no idea why. It was 110 degrees outside.
It was on the list, baby.
I hauled this chimenea 30 miles, you know, in a minivan, set it up, bought a fucking water hose, all kind. Like, you don't need water hoses in Oklahoma, you know. I got some bitch back, and I still have it. I still have that chimenea.
Oh my Lord!
I got to looking at the list. I was like, why the fuck did I bring a chimenea? And I looked at that list, and it didn't say chimenea. It said chimney, charcoal chimney.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious, Cosmo.
I still got that damn thing too.
That is hilarious.
Every once in a while, because Donnie Teal was there. Bart.
Yep.
You remember Bart?
I do.
I was next to Mike Davis.
Oh man, that's another lot of bull.
And Johnny Trigg.
Yeah.
And I walked over to Johnny Trigg's pit, and I said, "Oh man," I said, "Can I look at your pit?" And he looked at me and goes, "Don't touch it, boy. You can't afford it."
All right, guys, proud sponsor of the show, 5-9 Whiskey. You will see me enjoying this from time to time during the podcast. It is delicious, smooth. I've shared it with a ton of friends, and all they want to know is, where can I get it? Built for the tradesman that's put in that long day's work, and when it's over, they want to sit down with a nice whiskey, enjoy those wins from the day, and get ready for the next one. Where can you get it? 5-9 Whiskey. That's spelled out, 59whiskey.com. Don't forget about the promo code, enter Old Boy Podcast for 15% off. Hey, you remember though? I remember the first time. That may have been your first time laying eyes on a Jambo.
That was before Jambo was really a thing.
Yes,
but
yes.
That was
it was before Pitmasters.
Oh wait, yeah. That was
so it was like, you're like, dude, what is this sports car looking pit?
Yeah.
And you know, and all the guys that had them, I mean, they just looked like, you know, you'd see those guys as soon as they got there, first thing they did was wipe their pit down, you know, from whatever got on the road. But I mean, those guys always kept it looking like $1 million, and you're like, damn, man, like, what a gorgeous pit. And then you talk to them about how well it drew and how well it cooked. And but man, I know for me it was like, holy shit, what a rig.
Oh yeah, it looked like a Corvette that could
J5s.
smoke, you know? Yeah, they're unbelievable.
I always say to this day, that's something I will own. And it may just sit in the garage or back here, but I will own a Jambo one day. Just say I got one. And they're going to get harder to find.
Yeah, I got one that literally I've only cooked on once, and it sits in my warehouse, and it's protected by all my other cookers.
How many cookers do you have in that warehouse, Darren?
I was going to say 3, but my team would call bullshit on that real quick. I know there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's just at that's at the warehouse. At the storefront, there's probably 10. At my house, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at my house.
Yeah, you can cook on whatever you want, whenever you want.
Well, and that's I think that's what segregates our generation versus the new generation, and not all the new generations. The Alfragonis, like, you know, the Joeys, like Joey Machado and them guys, like, you know, Open Fire, Argentine, you know, I love that. I absolutely love that. But our generation, like, I don't, you know this. Like, we can't, I mean, I don't give a shit what you hand me. I'll figure it out real quick, because I had to learn fire management on my own.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite things used to be going out to the Barbecue Brethren and saying, hey, I want to go cook this contest. And I remember I did it for Salisbury, Maryland. Big contest, pork in the park. And just went out to the Brethren and just said, hey, you know, if you bring me your equipment, I won't hide anything from you. Like, I'll mix injections in front of you. I'll show you everything. And the thing is, to me, like, that's the most ultimate class you can get, right? Because you're going to catch those things that we don't think to teach in class, you know, taste a rib. Oh man, it's a little too salty. All right, well, then let's hit it with a little bit of this out the door. You know what I mean? Cut that a little bit. Stuff that you don't think to teach in class because it just didn't happen to you right that second.
You know,
and for me, what I loved about it was I didn't care what guys brought me. You know, it could be a Meadow Creek.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
You know, a month from now when I go do it, it could be a Stumps. And what I would always do is I'd get there Friday morning, ask them to get the gear there Friday morning, stop at the grocery store, get, you know, the last of my things I needed.
Yep.
And I'd get me about 6 cans of biscuits.
Yep. Always biscuit them.
Yep. And start that fire, get that rig where I wanted it to run, you know, when we were going to go cook that night, put them biscuits on, learn my cold spots, learn my hot spots. And then, you know, 6 hours later, 8 hours later, we're throwing meat on trying to win a contest.
Yeah.
But to me, that made me a better cook.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just learning that different fire management, how each smoker draws different. You know, hey, why do you know, if the wind's blowing this way, do I want the firebox pointing that way? Do I not want it? Like what does air do to this thing? Does it really speed it up, or does it just keep it stoked exactly where I want it? All that small shit.
And people don't understand air, altitude, and humidity.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I cooked a contest at 13,000 feet. Let me tell you, son, your times change drastically.
Oh, that one that they used to always do in Denver around the stock show. It was all. It would always be cold as hell, and that altitude always between cold and altitude
wipes out half the pack.
Yeah, it really does. Guys, just not thinking about it.
Yeah, no, and honestly, like it's just, you know, I always tell people, if you want to learn from my videos, watch one, and then watch it again with no sound, and then watch what I do, because I guarantee you I'm doing way more shit, you know.
Yep, that you're talking about.
Than I'm ever talking about. And that's what I tell my editors, man, like, you know, people want to know, like, how do you foil? Well, it depends. What are you foiling? You know? And I had some jackass leave me a comment the other day. You wouldn't have to double wrap your ribs if you used heavy duty foil. And I was like, you fucking dipshit, it is heavy duty.
And my other thing is, talking about how things have changed, heavy duty foil that we started with in competition is damn sure not that. Like, I feel like the heavy duty foil now is what the old school just regular aluminum foil was back in the day.
Yeah, and there's actually a heavy duty foil out there that most people, when I say most, I would say 99% of people don't even know about. There's an extra thick out there, and you think you want it,
it'll cut you.
Man, it'll lay you wide open. But here's the deal: it's like a beer can. And you can't tight wrap ribs like that.
No.
Because it's so heavy that it will put a sharp point on there. It will cut you, but you don't. Then again, you don't really have to wrap those ribs that tight. You fold that shit over. Like,
yeah.
You're gonna need a pry bar to get back in there.
I didn't know they had one out there that thick. You have to send me the link.
Remind me when I get home. I'll shoot you a text up.
Yeah.
And this shit, I mean, it's like beer can. And you pick it up. I think a roll of it back then was like $125. It's probably $6,000 now. Who knows? You know, but it's like I still have the same roll. But when you pick it up,
better have a back brace on.
Yeah, you better. You better get ready because it's all there.
What's your favorite part of all this? Mine's teaching.
Is it teaching?
I enjoy the teaching part of it.
I was just talking to your people up front. I don't like to teaching. And it's not that I don't like to teach. I do like to teach. It's when you're teaching, there's, you know, you have everybody from, you know, that wants to learn to the guy that is just here to fucking, you know, gotcha. You know, gotcha. That's not how you do, you know. And I've had a couple of them in my live classes at our storefront. And I went, hey, you know, what the fuck are you trying to do here? You want to learn or you want, you know? And I tell everybody, listen, man, hear what the fuck I'm saying right now. This is the way I do it. It is not the way, it's not the God Almighty. It's not, you know, it's just the way I do it. And what you're here for is you may want an entire recipe because you don't know nothing, you know, and you're learning. Or you may know quite a bit and you're just looking for one or two things. one or two things will get you a long way. And you go, oh my God, I didn't know that you could, take your rub and put it in a coffee grinder and then dust that final bite and change everything forever. Or I didn't know when it's too salty, you could add honey to it and it just, it doesn't push the honey so much, depending on how you add, but it backs off. I didn't know that when you bed a rib, you can put sweet on the bottom and heat on the top. And it's a, I didn't know that. And I'm like, well, fuck, I didn't know it either. I had to figure it out.
Trial and error, baby.
Yeah. So it's just, I think for me, it's, if I'm being honest, and I don't know if I've told you all my childhood, like I was, I had a horrible childhood, burned, I was horrible in school, ended up dropping out. But, I was always told, sit down, shut up, be quiet. Why are you doing that? You're a fuck up. You're a piece of shit. And I think for me, it's validation that, God has me on a path, and thank God he, put enough stubborn in me to not listen to people, because I never realized how many dumbasses there is wandering this planet.
Huh?
And there's a ton of them. And here's what they're really doing. They're being that one monkey that yanked me off the ladder because they got hurt. And there's an old saying, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And we all do it. You know? We all do it in one way, shape, or form. But, I can't tell you how many times that, people just look down on me and my family.
Yeah, and honestly, man, there doesn't need to be time for that. Like, there's so much other productive ways to spend your time and energy.
Yeah, well, it's you just.
But there's a certain human nature to it that it happens, and in some people it's just worse than others.
Well, and the only way for them to stay above me is if they keep putting their foot down.
Yeah.
And now I don't put up with that shit. Nope. I've learned to not give, and I think you know this. I don't give. If you have an issue with me, fuck you. I don't care. I don't fucking care. I really don't. I'm on the backside of life.
Yeah. We got less of the years ahead of us than we got less ahead of us than we got behind us.
I can see the end.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, I don't.
Yeah.
But I can see the end. So I'm picking and choosing. And you and I, we've had a talk because we bumped heads before, but we've come together like fucking men.
Well,
had a conversation, and got over
and moved on, and we're better for it. I feel like we're better friends now than before we had that conversation.
I was telling my wife, I was like, I'm telling you right now, if Chad Ward fucking called me, and he needed me, I'm gone. It's 30 fucking hours to get here for me.
Just like the other day, when you called, hey, I got this meeting coming up. I got this. I said, hold on, let me put you on. Let me look at the calendar. I was like, dude, I'm here.
Yep.
Let me email me, text me, give me a call back. Let me know exactly what you need. Hey, if we can squeeze a podcast in while you're here, I'd love to do it. But, dude, put them butts and briskets on last night, got you in good shape. We're going to finish it off after this podcast. Dude, nothing else I'd rather do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that, to me, is like the true barbecue brotherhood. You can bump heads. You can go, year and a half, kind of, not bickering at each other, but just not, talking much or this and that, and then clear the air, be stronger for it, and move on.
Yeah, 100%.
And support the hell out of each other. That's what it's about. I mean, I want all of our brothers in barbecue that have been on this journey with us to all have the most success they can have. And there's plenty out there for all of us to eat.
100%.
And we're all going to stay focused on our stuff because that's what we control. And that's what we've got, ownership over. But I don't get upset when I mean, you're going into Publix. I'm not. And I live in Lakeland. But I'm here helping you because I want to make sure you get that.
Right.
With not 1 ounce of jealousy, not one. Dude, it's awesome. And guess what? I'll get an opportunity around the corner that maybe you can help me out on. And you'll go, dude, that's fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's the way it should be. Like, we will all get better if we support each other in that way and kill the hate.
All ships rise in a high tide.
Absolutely.
And I really think this was hard for our generation to learn because we thought that, if you're getting more success than me, we all carried a lot of that, resentment, but then, and for me, here's what hit me. I think it was when we crossed 100,000 orders in a year, 5 or 6 years ago. And I sat there and I went, oh my God, that's not shit. There's 380 million people in the U.S. In the U.S. That's not counting, Canada.
All the international orders.
Yeah. And I'm like, I didn't even ship an order to everybody that lives in my city. I got way more fish to fry here.
Yeah.
So when I understood that, this year we'll cross 300,000 this year.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right? That ain't shit.
Yeah.
That ain't shit.
That's the metropolitan area around your place.
Yeah. I ain't even got it. I'm not even outside of a 25-mile radius.
Yeah, it's wild.
So how am I sitting here, wishing harm on somebody else when I can't even fucking water the grass that I sat on?
Actually, it's God's honest.
Yeah. But when you think about it from a data perspective, I had that same friend of mine tell me that Navy SEALs had a saying: 1 is none, 2 is 1. Meaning you can go further, farther, faster together than you ever will apart. And I've talked about this with you. I've talked about it with Heath, with Malcolm, Guga. Like, listen, man, there's no reason why we all can't huddle up and, what's working for you, this is what's working for me. Because we all got shit that we're good at, and we all got shit that we're bad at, And I come in here and I'm like, where's your team? Like, no, it's just me, and then I turn this on, I'm like, oh shit, like I had no idea.
Yeah.
But now I got an idea.
Yeah.
And and that's just how we do it.
Well, it's one of those things. I remember, I don't know if you were there or not. You were probably the smart one that didn't go anymore. But like, I remember the last MBBQA I went to, and me and Heath were talking. And I was like, and nothing against the MBBQA, but for what we do, it's not a huge advocate. You know what I mean? It's more restaurant driven to me, like things like that. HPBA used to be another great show. It's really not much for barbecue anymore. And I remember Heath going, you know what, man? I can't do Heath's accent as well as he can. He said, we just all need to go to an all-inclusive for 7 days, just this group of us barbecue guys, and just talk shop. Hang out, talk shop, just what have you learned, what have you not he's like, I feel like that money would be so much more well spent in that scenario than going to some big old conference.
I've literally spent probably close to $500,000 on
trade shows,
further educating myself and understanding marketing. And I swear, and here's the deal: I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I do.
Right.
And you may take a piece and you may move it, but I promise you, I was just, and I sat around. My fucking head is, but I just typed up a thing and I went, this fucking piece of paper is worth $100,000. Period. End of story. And I don't give a shit. And here's the deal: no one that I've ever met or talked to, all the marketing gurus, has ever fucking done this. And I'm sitting there going, this is how I run my business. And most people don't know because they go, Kosmo, what is he? He's a fucking old YouTuber. He's a fucking old computer guy. He's a fucking old this. He's a fucking old that. But in my head, I go, I only got 300,000 orders. There's new people coming in, and it's different cycles. It's how do I lead gen? Mm-hmm. How do I nurture? And how do I cultivate?
Yep.
And that's what it is. There's only 3 things that grow a business. Period. End of story. I don't give a fuck who you are, what you're in. You could fucking be digging ditches, or you could be mowing grass, or whatever. There's only 3 things that grow a business. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is worth fucking money. Customers, average order value, and lifetime value. And you figure out a way to rise all 3 of those, I'm telling you.
Because it allows you to spend more on customer acquisition.
And whoever has the most money to spend on customer acquisition, I'm telling you, will win.
Yep.
Will win. And people don't realize the lifetime value aspect of it. It's, I can push 2% and get double. People don't understand that. They don't understand the physics, the mathematics of it, that, if I just go, hey, Chad, I see it's been 3 months since you ordered.
Little nudge.
Yeah. hey, what would you do? What would you think about? Would it be wrong for me to ask if you placed another order? I did 1, 2, 3 for you. Because I care about you, Chad. Do I need to fucking call you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because people need to feel needed and known.
Well, the other thing I like too is our order volume's good, but not crazy. So I like when I come in the morning and we've got orders packed out, ready to go. Man, I'll go in Shopify and I'll look. Hey, man, this customer's ordered 7 times. I'll put a handwritten note there, man. Thanks. Hope you like. And that shit means the world to people.
Yeah.
You know, but just because guess what? Everybody's busy. You know what? That 3-month reminder, they make it, man, I'm glad Darren reached out. Like, I do need more season. Yeah. Like, I've been buying this crap at the store just because, you know, I hadn't thought to do it.
I've had somebody, they.
And guess what? If they don't like it, there's that unsubscribe button at the bottom.
Yeah, we have a Google review for our storefront, and this guy left a fucking horrible review. And I called him. And I was like, hey, this is Kosmo. And he's like, huh? I was like, yeah, this is Kosmo. I see you left a negative review on our storefront. Man, first of all, I looked up your order. You're right. We fucked you. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to refund your order 100%. And I'm going to double that, and I'm going to give you that much store credit. And he goes, well, hey, it wasn't you. It was the post office. And I was like, nevertheless, you're upset. I can't control the post office. You can't control the post office. It just is what it is. You got fucked. It fucked you. So here's what I'm gonna do. And he goes, he goes, man, I feel fucking horrible. And I said, don't feel horrible. I just want to get an opportunity to make it right. He goes, I'm gonna take that review down. I said, man, you do what you got to do. All I'm saying is I just don't want you out there like that. And he took the review down. And there's another one on there, and I called him too. And he's a business owner. You know,
so he understands.
He understands, yeah. But I went, you know, we're not perfect. We fuck up. We all do. You know, own it and move on.
Correct it, move on.
Do the right thing. You know, just do the right thing. You know, and it doesn't cost you nothing. To do that.
Nope. Neither does generosity. You know, kindness. Not a bit. And that'll be a customer for life.
Yeah.
Done.
The first time it happened, we shipped a guy one of these hats. These were, $40, $50 hats back in the day. And somebody put it in a fucking padded envelope and shipped it to him.
God.
I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck do you think was going to happen to that? And he posted pictures online. There was like 80 comments, fuck Kosmo, this motherfucker. And I put a comment on there and said, hey, man, shoot me a DM. I'll send you 2 free hats and I'll refund your order. And he shot me a DM. He goes, is this Kosmo? I said, yeah. He said, dude, you don't have to do that, man. That's okay. I said, no. No, if I'm not okay with receiving that shit, there's no way I'm going to expect you to do it.
Yep.
So I sent him a couple free hats and refunded his order, and he took that shit down. And then he made another post with the new hats, and he goes, I thought customer service was dead. And this is, I don't know if you know this. Most people don't know this, but I used to have my phone number on every bottle.
I did not know that.
My personal cell phone.
Yeah.
And on every single website receipt was my cell phone. And I said, if you have any issue or you just want to BS, this is my personal cell. Call me. And then once we got to 100,000 orders, I'd take it off. Obvious reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Only so many hours in a day.
If I could, hey, Cosmo, it's midnight. My brisket's doing this.
Next thing you know, the Thanksgiving hotline.
Yeah.
My turkey's behind. The family's going to be here in 30. What do I do, Kosmo?
Yeah. You're fucked.
Well, brother, I know we have to keep it around an hour because we got work to do, but let's wrap it up with 2 things. We run in the same circles. Who's somebody think that's old boy like us that I need to have on the podcast?
Let me think. Honestly, like Donnie Till comes to mind.
Yeah, Donnie'd be great.
Yeah, because that guy, like the shit he knows.
Yeah,
is like,
yeah. No, and that kind of takes me back to when I was doing the Whiskey Bent in the Pit podcast, kind of before podcasts were cool.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was one thing I loved about it, was just getting competition guys on and just shooting the breeze. And my whole reason behind that podcast was I realized what it was like being new, coming in, competing, and I really enjoyed, and I think one of the things that helped me in my barbecue career was I was always willing to go to other states. I mean, I think I competed in like 28, 29 states. But the hard part about that is it's not the same group of guys you're running against, and you want to find some common ground, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you're not going to just walk up to Rod Gray out of the blue and go, "Hey, Pellet Envy, how are you doing?" You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But through that podcast, people would learn, hey, this is this guy's favorite baseball team. Oh, he's got 2 daughters like I do. Like, you would learn stuff about the person that made them more approachable, even though they're a multiple-time world champion.
The overlap.
Yes.
Yeah. The overlap and the values.
And humanizing them.
Yeah.
And yes, they are a 2-time, 3-time, 4-time barbecue world champion, but the dude's also taking 2 kids to Carline on Tuesday. Yeah. To me, that's what I loved about it. And Donnie would be a perfect guy like that you can just kind of go through.
Or Travis.
Travis is on the list. He what he's doing with his restaurant empire is amazing, and the attention to detail. When I went to Travis's place, we're talking about Travis Clark Crew BBQ, awesome restaurant in OKC. He's got another one opening Tulsa. Yeah. But man, like, when I sat down there with him and went through that, he's like, "Chad, we're big boys. Regular chairs, I hated them. I couldn't find a chair I liked, so I built them. Couldn't find a table I liked, so I built them." And he's like, "Every restaurant consultant told me there should be 320 seats in here. Fuck that, it's barbecue. We're big people. We sit around. This is where people come after church. This is where people come after graduation. It's where they come after, ball games. Right. I want people to be comfortable." Yeah. So, he takes 60 covers, and puts 260 chairs in it because it's the right thing to do. Yeah. And does it cost him money? Absolutely. But he goes, "You know what? People stay around longer. They have a better experience. They'll come back more often. I think it's a wash."
Yep. And they get to pay more attention to quality.
Yes, absolutely. And I will tell you, that is one of the few barbecue restaurants I've went to that I couldn't find one thing on the menu to knock. And Travis wants you to find something to knock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I fuck with him, though. No. I can't believe you're serving this shit.
But no, Trav would be a great one. He's definitely going to be on the show, and I love the Donnie idea, too. And then last thing, man, is what's on the horizon? You've always got something up your sleeve. Yeah. Anything you could talk about, or what are you looking forward to here over the next 12 to 18 months?
Man, honestly, I need a vacation. I'm fucking busy. Yeah. I'm fucking busy. And I didn't realize, you got to be careful what you tolerate, because that'll become your new norm. And I just thought I needed to tolerate. And literally since August last year, after this week, I have to go to Philly next week, and then I'm done.
Well, and one thing, I'll go ahead and share it here on the podcast is, you've invested heavily in human resources with bringing on a CEO, bringing on a senior vice president. And I think, a lot of your thoughts behind that, and we've kind of had some discussions around this, is we're not great at everything. So let's surround ourselves with people that are really good at the stuff we're shitty at, and free that up to where the stuff we are awesome at, that's where we spend our time.
Yep. We can excel.
Exactly. But, friend to friend, I would say you've invested this money, and I know it's a lot easier to say than do, but make sure that investment's getting a return on you.
Yeah.
And you do that by, like you said, taking a little bit of that stress off you, getting out, taking some vacation, enjoying some time away from barbecue with the wife, not packing orders, not talking about what the next vision is, but just unplugging. And what I have found, when you do take those brief moments to do that, when you come back, you're ready to take on the world. It's like you just took the longest nap, sleep, rest in the world, and now you're just recharged and ready to go tackle it.
Yep. I need that. All
right. Well, I'm gonna follow up with you by the end of the summer. If you haven't taken a vacation, I'm going to have to come out to Oklahoma and I'll square off.
No, I don't want that.
All right, take a damn vacation then, old boy. Hey, buddy, I appreciate the time. It's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you for having me, man. And thank you for everything you've done for us the last 3 days, 4 days.
Our pleasure, man. Our pleasure. It's family, brother. Happy to help. And appreciate you making the time on this busy day for us to chat. And hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. This is Chad and Darian signing out. Old Boy Podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace. Catch you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Old Boy Podcast. Please subscribe, like, set your notifications, whatever you got to do to make sure you're getting the latest episodes. Also, feel free to go back, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple, get some of the past episodes, check those out, and always feel free to check out our socials. Old Boy Podcast. Thank you so much.